So yeah, Disney bought Star Wars and they decided they're gonna make an episode 7. This is already old news to everybody, but I don't know. I just didn't make a very thought out comment on this until now. Also, DICE got Battlefront and they're gonna release Battlefront 3. They're calling it just Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, but there's already a game that has the exact same name, so I'm gonna call it Battlefront 3 to avoid confusion. So yeah, I saw the new. It's not really new at this point, but I saw the. All right, going back to The Force Awakens. I've seen The Force Awakens trailer. I've seen the movie Dr. Foles review on that, and like what he said pretty much sums up a lot of the things I agree with. Like that one guy's lightsaber. I don't like how it's got the flames on the sides. It seems, if I'm correct, it's supposed to be like one of those medieval broadswords that had the things on it. Of course, those swords, that was really just decorate. It was partly decoration, partly to keep your hand from slipping off the handle. And with a lightsaber, if there's like extra blades coming out, that's not going to up your defense at all. You're just more likely to chop off your own hand. I mean, with a double-bladed lightsaber that was made famous in episode 1, that was something new, but that one's, it's not safe to use, and it's probably really, that extra blade is probably really impractical, unless if you know how to use a staff without hitting yourself. Then you can be relatively dangerous. Somewhere out in Wikipedia, in the expanded universe of Star Wars, there is this one character that uses 2 double-bladed lightsabers. Even just one double-bladed lightsaber, you'd have to be very dexterous to use. Now, I'm not bashing The Force Awakens. Personally, if they're not gonna do this in episode 7, hopefully, if they're gonna ever make us episodes 8, 9, or 10, God forbid if they do, I really hope that they don't completely discard the expanded universe. I really hope that we get to see the Imperial Civil War and the Yuuzhan Vong War. I feel like episode 6 pretty much concluded the main story that the Star Wars episodes were all about. But you know what? Episode 7 is kind of like a why not? I feel like they waited too long. The actors who were in the first 3 movies in the trilogy, they're almost all of them are in their advanced age. But maybe they're gonna be like the who knows? Maybe episode 7 is gonna take place much longer in the future after episode 6. Maybe it takes place during the Yuuzhan Vong War. And if so, well, there's a huge gap in between episode 6 and the Yuuzhan Vong War. The Yuuzhan Vong War is very dynamic and very interesting and all that. That's about all I can think of at the moment for The Force Awakens. Now, about Star Wars Battlefront 3. I saw the gameplay footage. Now, I've posted this complaint. It's not really a complaint, but I've posted this on other websites. I really hope that the same mistakes that were in Battlefront 2 aren't repeated. It looks like Jedi heroes will be playable. We've seen it in the Hoth trailer. Hopefully not every single character is going to have a jetpack. Jetpacks are cool, but in moderation. I know my voice cracked. Need to clear my throat. The way the vehicles work, unless the gameplay video footage was like spliced, it seems like to get into a vehicle you have to like use some sort of remote thing, kind of like in Call of Duty, and then you control the vehicle from like a remote. Okay, not the way I would have done things. There's X-Wings and TIE Fighters and Y-Wings on Hoth now? The only aircraft that was on Hoth in Battlefronts 1 and 2 were assault speeders, snow speeders, whatever you want to call them. The rebels had them. Their lasers didn't do shit against AT-STs or AT-ATs. The only way you can knock out an AT-AT is with the tow cable. That's the only thing that the tow cable has a function for in that game. And in Battlefront 1, lasers were just pathetic. The only thing you can realistically use them against are infantry. There was two... supposedly... There's only two AT-ATs, about 5 snow speeders or so. Maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. One thing that I hope in Star Wars Battlefront 3 will be that maybe there's going to be more AI, or maybe there might be less. Does anyone remember going to Jabba's palace and fighting that whopping 3 Gamorrean guards that defended the palace, and the stationary Rancor that couldn't move, that was invincible? Yeah. That's what defends Jabba's palace. 3 Gamorrean guards. Now granted, they have infinite numbers and they can spawn anywhere without any command posts. But that's really the only representation of either the Hutt Cartel or the Black Sun Pirates you're ever going to see in Battlefront 1 or 2. Unless if someone makes a mod or map that incorporates one of the ideas that I proposed. I actually wrote it down. Yes, I have a very interesting plan here. This is Jabba's palace, and this is the outside. One of my ideas. This is the rebel. This would be the rebel base. This would be the Imperial base, and this is what the Gamorreans would get. The Gamorreans get desert skiffs and a couple command posts. Sail barges, destructible. They get 1 command post inside the palace, and you can make a reskin Tusken Raider or Naboo Palace Guard and give them Naboo Palace Guard weapons to resemble the Weequays in Empire at War, and kind of like Empire at War, give both sides a Famba shield generator and give them a Hoth shield generator, both. Give them 2 bombers, 2 fighters, speeders, and the works. And you'd make mountains or voids out here, and a neutral command post there and there. I think that this is a pretty good idea. I submitted it to Star Wars Battlefront gamers. I don't know if anyone's going to take it seriously. I'd make a map myself if I could figure out how to get the editor working. Oh well. Okay. Well, anyway, with Battlefront 3, or Battlefront as everyone's calling it, I really hope that things are going to be improved. In Battlefront 1, your team was always red. Your team was always green, enemy team was always red, and then the local teams, or the third side that you can't play as, was always yellow, regardless of whether or not they were friendly to you or not. Local teams were always yellow. They changed that in Battlefront 2. Your team is always blue. Unnecessary change from green to blue. Don't know why anyone thought that was a good idea. Your team's always going to be blue. Enemy team's always going to be red. And the local teams are always going to be red unless they're either neutral or allied to you. I thought that was such a dumb idea. Why change the local teams from a color that we can distinguish to a color that we can't distinguish? I just thought that was dumb, okay? Don't do that in Battlefront 3, please. I mean, in Battlefront 3, the color for your team is already going to be blue. That's decided. I kind of wish they did it how in Empire at War, in the first Empire at War game, your team, like I know how in the first Empire at War game, similar to Star Wars Battlefront, your side is always green, enemy side's always red, and the local teams were yellow in the Galactic Conquest and Campaign, or orange in Skirmish. In Empire at War Forces of Corruption, the rebels are designated as the color red. The Empire is designated as the color blue, regardless of who you're playing as. And the local teams, or Black Sun Pirates, were still orange. The Zan Consortium is now the yellow guys. Why can't it be like that? how about in Battlefront 3 we make it so that the rebels are designated as the color red, the Galactic Empire is designated as the color blue. I have a feeling Clone Wars is going to be excluded. I read that somewhere. And the local team is either yellow or orange. And make it so that you could play it, like, get a mod where you can play as the locals. That would be pretty cool. You can play as the local team that has no significance. They're probably never going to allow that to happen because it just defies all balance as far as the game's concerned. But I think that's a minor technicality. Well, I've got a lot of ideas for Battlefront. If you want to hear them, I've got them on StarWarsBattlefrontGamers.com. I'll post a link in the description. Anyway, yeah, those are my complaints, and if you want to, leave a comment below, rate, preferably like rather than dislike, but your opinion you can keep to yourself. No, I'm just kidding. You got your opinion, express it here. So yeah, that's the Force Awakens and Battlefront rant.